Hey everybody, I planned to like super tight 30 seconds per slide and of course did not plan to say anything for this slide, so I'm just wasting time while it shows. I do teach electronics and sculpture, which I like to joke is engineering without the calculus, but it's basically teaching artists how to work with interactive sensors and actuators, and then I teach interactive art here. So this is a piece called Stuttering. It's an invisible asymmetrical grid where every rectangle is filled with animated text and spoken word, not audible here, triggered when our body tracked outline crosses its path. If you move quickly, the piece itself stutters with an audio visual barrage. Move carefully, even cautiously, stutter with your bodies, and both bodies and meaning emerge. Every single person I've ever seen interact with this piece eventually slows down. They kind of listen with their bodies. They perform in the world with more care, as we all should. For Tweets in Space, one of my collaborations with San Francisco-based Scott Kildall, we literally beamed Twitter discussions from participants worldwide towards DJ667cc, the closest and most likely exoplanet that might support human-like biological life. I had to practice saying that. We hired a high-amplitude, high-frequency radio telescope and sent 30 minutes worth of voluntary tweets, all those tagged with the hashtag Tweets in Space, 22 light years across the cosmos. All these voices together express wonder and anxiety, interest and happiness, hope and cynicism, and more. The Smell of Red combines sand and spices, fans and fabric, electronics and tornado machines toward a sensorial installation shown here at Glass House Gallery in Brooklyn, New York. From the gallery windows, you're drawn in to see these tornadoes, and when you open the door, the wind from it makes them disappear. You stand in front of them, waiting for them to come back, and are slowly dusted with cocoa and cinnamon in the air, which then you bring outside again. It's the little things just outside our perception that really make and change the world. For almost 15 years, I've been making imaging rigs with hacked desktop scanners, computing devices, and custom battery packs, strapping them to my body, then traversing the landscape so as to perform fine art prints into existence. Every image is broken into these vertical strips, which are actually adjacent times and spaces because of the relation of how the scanner beam moves across the surface of the glass, and I move in and around as a part of the environment. I've performed relational images in lily ponds, top left, and as with this other image, while scuba diving with my scanner on a coral reef. Thinking work like stuttering was the subject of my first book on the top, which highlights that interactive art helps us feel bodies and how we understand them as performed rather than preformed. And my second book, Ecological Aesthetics, on projects like The Smell of Red, argues that ecology, aesthetics, and ethics are inherently interconnected and together act as the cornerstone for all contemporary arts practices. FYI, I acknowledge that I'm an artist in my own work in these books, but I primarily write about other artists, and I always feature at least one UWM student work. Shout out Maria Balafar and Wyatt Tinder. That second book got me thinking about the first in new ways. I started wondering about electronic waste, what my phone or laptop might look like in 100 years, 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, how our devices might weather or grow over time. What else might our electronic waste be? How might we sense and feel this? For fossils, with a PH, get it, fossilized phones, I cook, freeze, burn, smash, blend, and more, and put the results on exhibits and beakers and tubes, on pedestals and sands as archaeological finds and or photographic images. Server farms, see computers and other technological equipment repurposed as planters, most often shown as sculptures, but sometimes in print, like this print, sporadical, which is 5 foot wide as a mushroom and moss bursting from an Apple Watch. For me, this print resituates life and technology, earth time, human time, and technological time, together. It speculates on how life may incubate and spread beyond our own and nature's imaginings, and it wonders what might digital media be and do in and with the world after us. Continuing in this vein, I started wondering, what if it isn't only the plants that thrive and grow after us? What if electronic waste too were to replicate and multiply, incubate and spread? What could this look like? What could this feel like? What could an installation like this do? What I call the wall after us can take between 250 and up to 1,000 square feet of wall space. Laptops, keyboards, tapes, drives, phones, circuits, and other degraded electronic waste intermingled with cables and plants all clinging to and climbing up the walls to create an overwhelming and affective sense of what we use and throw out. And finally, I also asked, what might digital waste be and do right now other than? So on the left, those are actually ground up foams mixed with extender and turned into ink for fine out prints of course, phones on paper made from my old t-shirts. The tools on the top are melted down aluminum iMacs from the early 2000s, cast as a wrench, hammer, and screwdriver. And on the bottom right are my Securitas tools, motherboards turned into a hacksaw, hacks, and I forget what else because I can't see it anymore. In this particular moment of COVID and BLM, Black Lives Matter, I found a different kind of urgency calling. So my collaborator, Samantha Tan, a recent UW-M, and I are working on a homebound Zoom shot documentary about people who, in various roles from their job to their activism to their home life, are making and have made Black Lives Matter more in any form of support. That's lowercase BLM. This film is both an action and a call to action for others. It'll be free online with the curriculum for high schools and colleges. That was Wisconsin State Assembly Representative David Bowen. Thanks, that's my time.